We will honor the lives of our fallen brothers by making sure that never again will our citizens' inalienable right to life and liberty be so wantonly denied here at home or anywhere else in the world.
Speaker, House of Representatives meets with President Muhammadu Buhari, commends Nigeria's bold response to the xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
We are looking at issues of education and health, but as time goes on, we have commitments around there also, which are coming in.
Nigeria makes progress on the implementation of key components of the Open Government Partnership. Women Affairs Ministry maps out strategies to improve girl-child education.
He will go down in history as a great nationalist who fought for his people against the oppression of the white domination and colonialism.
Plus, end of an era for Zimbabwe's longest-serving president. Correspondent examines the lives and times of Robert Mugabe. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Jumwa Yusuf. Reading with me tonight, I have Jennifer Igwe in Lagos and Caleb Gochin in Jos. Thanks for joining us. More reactions continue to trail the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has described as appropriate, timely and very instructive steps taken so far by the federal government in response to the xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa. Speaking to newsmen after a closed-door engagement with President Muhammadu Buhari on critical national issues, Speaker Gbajabiamila expressed the belief that the government's proactive undertakings clearly sent the right signals to South Africa.
Where I cut my trip to Tanzania short, and I came home with the hope of reconvening the House so that we can address this very important issue. We have called that off. Because events have overtaken that, the government has taken very proactive steps, the same steps we would have asked for, and we're all on the same page with the president and the government.
Are there moves to cut bilateral ties with South Africa considering what is happening?
We're not there yet. Nothing is off the table. Nothing is off the table. We'll take each day as it comes. As of now, the president has taken proactive steps in evacuating our citizens. Other things will follow. I believe we're going to stand with Nigerians and by Nigerians, and that's our priority is to protect and the constitution is to protect the welfare of the citizens, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's exactly what the president is doing.
State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the enhanced relations between the executive and the legislature, as well as preparations for the 2020 appropriation bills, were also discussed by the nation's first and fourth citizen.
It used to be January to December, and the only way to do that is for an early presentation of the budget, and we'll discuss that. And the recent $9 billion award against Nigeria, we discussed that as well. And clearly, we're in opposition to that, and steps will be taken.
So are we likely to see the budget go into National Assembly this month?
I cannot give you a definite, but I know that the budget is going to come as early as possible. It may be the end of this month, maybe shortly thereafter. I cannot give you an exact date, but it's going to be an early presentation so that we can pass the budget before the end of the year and return to the cycle of January to December.
Meanwhile, Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says the National Assembly will not hesitate to authorize legal funding for Nigerian citizens who wish to take legal actions against identified perpetrators and sponsors of the dastardly act against them in South Africa. Speaker Gbajabiamila at a media conference in Abuja also expressed the displeasure of the National Assembly over xenophobic attacks on Nigerian nationals in that country. Kenneth Nanim has details.
The people and government of Nigeria have condemned in strong terms the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians residing in South Africa. Now, Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila puts in perspective various socio-political roles played by Nigeria towards freedom and peaceful building for economic development in the African continent, including South Africa. Therefore, the ill-treatment meted to Nigerians in that country is uncalled for.
We intend not only to determine the causes of these latest events, but also to assess and account for the losses in life and property that have occurred. This will allow the government to more accurately demand reparations to compensate our citizens who suffered in this recent orgy of violence.
Commending efforts by the federal government so far in dealing with the situation and the displeasure expressed by Nigerians at home, the Speaker urged Nigerians to continue to be patriotic and law-abiding.
We will achieve nothing by destroying businesses that employ our people and provide a living for our families. We will honor the lives of our fallen brothers by making sure that never again will our citizens' inalienable right to life and liberty be so wantonly denied here at home or anywhere else in the world.
The Speaker also urged Nigerians to unite and join hands with the government towards solving issues of insecurity and other challenges being faced by the country. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The Nigerian government will be demanding legal compensation against a report which says there is no provision for the South African government to pay to victims of xenophobic attacks, compensation on xenophobic attacks in South Africa. This was the reaction of the Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Oyema after a meeting with the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs at the National Assembly. Abdullahi Aminu reports.
It was a closed-door meeting on the possible actions to be taken by the Nigerian government on the lingering issue. The minister said Nigeria is not satisfied with South African government's resort to either engage the service of insurance companies or make private arrangements for compensation.
With the distinguished senators, we were looking at some of the options that we have to ensure that this will be the last time that we will ever be meeting to be talking about Nigerians attacked in South Africa and to take definitive measures. But we want to do that and start doing that once we have all the facts available.
On the diplomatic ties between the two countries, the minister said Nigeria has not reached a stage where it will break diplomatic relations with South Africa.
There are different actions that can be taken at the diplomatic level without necessarily breaking off diplomatic ties. But we want our decision and Mr. President's decision to be an informed decision based after assessing all the facts.
We appeal to Nigerians to remain calm. So far from the briefing that we have been given, we believe that the Nigerian government at the executive level are doing pretty much to ensure that the suffering of our people is alleviated, that we find a lasting solution to the problem.
The meeting has resolved not to make the entire possible options public pending the final report from the Nigerian High Commission in South Africa, which is engaging Nigerian Union in South Africa. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Now to other matters. Call him a political icon, outspoken African legend and one of Africa's longest-serving president, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, former president of Zimbabwe, had many shades in opinion and political philosophy. As he passes on, correspondent Haman Jabani gives us some perspectives about the man, Robert Mugabe.
Robert Gabriel Mugabe was born on 21st February 1924. He was the son of a carpenter and a descendant of the majority Shona-speaking people in the country then under the white minority rule. Robert Mugabe was educated at a Catholic mission school where he qualified as a teacher, secured scholarship at Fort Harare University in South Africa. He acquired the first of his 7 academic degrees before teaching in Ghana, where he was greatly influenced by the Pan-Africanist idea of Ghana's post-independent leader, Kwame Nkrumah.
He will go down in history as a great nationalist who fought for his people against the oppression of the white domination and colonialism. For that, it's a lasting legacy left behind.
Over his 3 decades in power, international perception scored with an increased number of criticism portray him as a dictator. Despite his long stay in power, he enjoyed the support of other African leaders who saw him as a hero of the fight against colonial rule.
There was no doubt about, that he was a patriot, he was a nationalist, he was also a revolutionary. He indeed, one would say that in terms of the practice of decolonization, he will also go into the Hall of Fame of other similar African leaders that made sure that the people were not held in captivity.
He was considered a Pan-Africanist as he supported the seizure of white farmers' land in Zimbabwe without compensation. He was a strong advocate of African patriotism as well as a towing advocate of African nationalism. The climax of his political nosedive was on 19 November 2017 when ZANU-PF removed him as party leader and issued a deadline of 20th November for Mugabe to resign the presidency, but he did not. On 21st November, he sent a letter of resignation to Zimbabwe's parliament. Consequently, Emmerson Mnangagwa was sworn in as president on 24th November 2017.
We led the struggle, formed the Patriotic Front, and defeated colonialism. And we ushered in a new dispensation for Zimbabwe. The people were free.
Robert Gabriel Mugabe had been receiving treatment at a hospital in Singapore since April. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And on behalf of the federal government, President Muhammadu Buhari sends condolences to the government and people of Zimbabwe over the passing of the founding father and former president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, at 95. In a statement by the senior special advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the President commiserates with family members, friends and political associates of the political activists who fought for the independence of the country from colonial rule and lived most of his life in public service. President Buhari believes Mugabe's sacrifices, especially in struggling for the political and economic emancipation of his people, will always be remembered by posterity. He prays that the Almighty God will grant the soul of the former president rest and comfort his loved ones. I am now being joined by Professor Kabir Matu, and he's a professor of political science, to talk more about the man, Mugabe, described at times by people as eccentric. Most people didn't really understand who he was.
Well, it's not as if many people didn't really understand what Mugabe stood for. The tribute by President Muhammadu Buhari, in my view, summarizes the life and times of Robert Gabriel Mugabe, who truly was an African nationalist, a revolutionary, and an icon of, Zimbabwean nationalism. If you go through his history and you see the level of struggle that he went through in order to get what used to be Rhodesia, to state of independence in 1980 and the developments that followed thereon, you will understand why he became such a very captive personality as far as the Eurocentric view of the African leader is concerned. And of course, you will expect that the tributes are going to come in two extremes. While we in Africa are saying he was a great nationalist, a great man, one of the best leaders that we have had, the Western world is thinking otherwise. And that basically has to do with not just the process that led to the independence of Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, but the events that developed much after, especially the Lancaster House Agreement, which precipitated the transition towards the redistribution of land in Zimbabwe. I hope you know that less than 5 or 10% of Zimbabweans are actually white. Majority of them are blacks, and after independence, or before independence, 95% of the fertile arable land in the whole of Zimbabwe was under the domination of just the 5% white Rhodesians, as they call themselves. And the Lancaster House Agreement simply specified methods and methodologies that was going to happen in terms of land distribution, and then the promise by Britain and the United States of America under the auspices of United Nations to collect the funds together and pay compensations to the white landowners, redistribute this land, and the failure of that. And that was supposed to take place between 1980, when Zimbabwe was Zimbabue's independence to 1990. But up to the year 2000, there was a lot of paranoid reaction and, disappointed expectation on the half of the black majority Zimbabweans who began to question the legitimacy and, the actuality of independence of the country. And of course, Robert Mugabe had, a choice to make, either to continue to allow the domination of the fertile Zimbabwe lands under the white minorities, who incidentally were part of the Lancaster House agreement and an agreement that was not kept, or to redistribute the land and win the confidence on his people. And I'm happy he did that. As a result of that, several embargoes and so on and so forth continue to trail Zimbabwe, the result of which was the economic catastrophe that every, European city would like to speak about. But as far as I am concerned, and several of us in Africa, he was a great leader.
Yes.
He was a nationalist. He was a pan-Africanist. And, from 1963, when he was incarcerated for about 11 years, arising from his struggle for the liberation of his society. And I hope, Zimbabwe, the white Rhodesians decided to declare independence in the from British colonial rule and continue with white minority rule. And so, of course, it's going to be a mixed grill, but I think the testimonies that will be more important to Robert Mugabe as he rests will be the testimonies of the people of Zimbabwe, Africans like me and you.
So as tributes continues to pour in, what lessons do we take from the legacy of Robert Mugabe?
Well, of course,
his style of governance.
One of the downtowns, the negative impacts of, the over 30-year rule of Robert Mugabe has been that threat of African leaders wanting to stay tight, in positions of authority when they find themselves there. But of course, we're always, unmindful of the historiographic experiences of different African societies. I would like to lump up and jump up, at the slightest opportunity and begin to think about the Western liberal contraption of democracy. And of course, it's not necessary, as we see from several other countries, across the third world that are developing. The idea of Western liberal democracy does not seem to be the way out of the crisis that we have always found themselves in. And perhaps that might have informed Gabriel Mugabe's, insistence to remain in power, until when he became powerless. And of course, I love the way the Zimbabwean authorities treated him because he was not humiliated, he was not disgraced. And this have to do necessarily with, the antecedents and the record that he, that he's left during his active years.
And as we mourn such a great man, thank you so much for coming on Network News.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Professor Kabir Mato, a professor of political science, and he has given us an insight on the man, Mugabe. This is NTA Network News. Let's take a break now. We will be right back. Don't go away.
Follow! Kitty. Oh, baby. He doesn't want overripe things. Dudu by nature. Black is beautiful. Oh, talk to the hand. The baby is black. Ask her. Uche, quickly send me the baby video.
Okay, ma.
Yeah, he's playing. Oh my goodness. He's loving it. Oh, thank you. Welcome. Bye.
Data is oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your #1 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
Bayes University is a fully licensed university operating since 2011 and has grown to have 32 accredited programs in 6 faculties. This includes computer and applied sciences, management and social sciences, engineering, environmental sciences, law, and basic medical sciences. The university also offers postgraduate programs and foundation courses in a conducive learning environment with modern teaching facilities and high-quality national and international staff. Bayes University graduates have either progressed into respectable career positions or have obtained postgraduate degrees from different parts of the world with distinctions. Call or visit www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng. Bayes University, Abuja. Learn to live.
Hello. Hi, Jenny. Can you supply 1,000 bottles of juice by noon?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello?
Jenny.
Auntie, please, I need a loan. Hurry up! Hello?
The number cannot be reached.
Clean that up! Clean that up! Your order is on the way.
Are you an entrepreneur looking for financing to grow your business? Here's good news. Development Bank of Nigeria now provides sustainable financing through commercial banks, microfinance banks, and other financial institutions with repayment terms of up to 10 years. Please do remember, paying back your loan in good time will give you access to more loans.
Development Bank of Nigeria. Financing sustainable growth.
Hey, you! And are you how they talk to? I sabi you now. It's in your mind, Abi. The person who then go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Oga Lekuva, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last for this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We Sabi say Peking will crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Syria and La Liga matches live. Go for GoTV Max.
Okay, ma. Oh my goodness.
Data is oxygen, your number one 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow.
Thanks for rejoining us. Now to electoral matters. The governing All Progressives Congress has expressed absolute confidence in its ability to retain the governorship seat in Kogi State as the voting population returned to the polls in November this year. National Chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, stated at a joint media briefing alongside the party's candidate, Governor Yahya Bello, after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari on the forthcoming gubernatorial election in the Confluence State. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the report.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello since his overwhelming victory at the APC governorship primary election held recently. At the meeting also attended by the national chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, President Buhari congratulated Governor Yahya Bello for sustaining the confidence of his party members after the election adjudged to be free, fair, and credible. Mr. Oshomole, while addressing newsmen shortly after the closed-door meeting, described the engagement with the president as fruitful and reassuring.
For the people of Kogi State, rather than trying to experiment with a new hand, they say a bird at hand is worth two in the bush. I think Governor Yahya has shown that he has capacity. Going forward, he will have learned a couple of lessons in his first time. I have passed through that process. I know that your second term is always the time you do those legacy projects that you want to be remembered for. Because the only benefit in this business is when I leave, what will I be remembered for? That the thing that will drive Governor Yahya Bello as he approach the second term. And those will be at the heart of our campaign. We have also seen the candidate nominated by PDP. We are not going to walk over him. We will contest with him and we will defeat him fairly and squarely.
Kogi State Governor and APC candidate for the November governorship election, Yahya Bello is optimistic of a victorious outing, as he says the people of the confluent state never had it so good.
I've been ready for this particular election right before even the last general elections that produced Mr. President, the National Assembly and the State House of Assembly. We are well prepared for the election, and as for victory, I think by the grace of God it is assured. Like the national chairman have said, we're not going to take anything for granted. The citizens of Kogi State have actually seen my performance against the performance of the previous PDP governors in Kogi State. In less than 3.5 years, they have seen all my wonderful performances. Every local government in Kogi State are dotted with various infrastructural development. All along, I've chosen not to speak about the issue of salary because it's a problem I inherited. These past two governors couldn't solve it. I have come to solve it. That already is a kudos to this administration. These people of Kogi State have spoken before. In the last general election, they will speak again.
That I can confirm as Labour ambassador.
The Kogi State governorship election comes up on November 16, 2019. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, conduct of party primaries ahead of the governorship elections in Bayelsa and Kogi State ended Thursday, 5th of September. The next step is the submission of candidates. With just 72 days to go, let me join Mayor Ogidi on the latest development on the race to the Lord Lugard House in Lokoja and that of Creek Heaven in Yenagua.
It is another busy day at the INEC headquarters. But my interest is the media center, where both human and material resources have been deployed to receive candidates from the 59 political parties in Kogi and 58 in Bayelsa State that have indicated interest to participate in the forthcoming governorship elections, as the party primaries ended midnight Thursday, 5th of September 2019.
And there won't be any form of extension whatsoever.
Waiting rooms for the representatives of the political parties to take a second look at their documents before submission is set. And the image maker of INEC, Festus Okoye, is of the opinion that the umpire, that is INEC, is on a positive terrain for the exercise.
All the states have received the non-sensitive materials required for the conduct of the elections.
Democratic People's Party, DPP, and Up Democratic Party, HDP, are the first two political parties to engage INEC for the submission of candidates.
What we have not done is that to bring all our documents in three copies only. So
we are not going to receive any nomination that the party use TPEX to either clean up or TPEX the name of any individual.
The call, therefore, is on the political parties to submit their candidates early to avoid unnecessary pressure on the staff and also to avoid mistakes that may later become legal issues. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party says it is focused on ensuring an organized, purposeful and coordinated approach for the forthcoming governorship elections in Bayelsa and Kogi State. To this end, the party is to set up committees tasked with reconciliation and campaign strategies. Timothy Yusuf has more.
The National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party had the presence of the party's governorship candidates to the November 16 election in Bayelsa and Kogi States. Serving Senator Duoye Diri and the brother of the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Musa Wada. The message of the party to the candidates is that of grassroots mobilization of the people towards electoral victory at the poll, as they received their certificates of return and INEC forms following their victory at the PDP governorship primaries election.
It is time for you to pull our people together. It is time to reconcile our people.
The key projects are first reconciliation and then campaigns, which the party believes will bring every member on board in the bid to sail into the Hemsman's office in Yenagoa and Lokoja in November.
We believe that the only way for us to win this forthcoming November 16th election is for our party to be united. We are going into this race with all confidence and with the grace of God. We are ready for peaceful election.
With the primaries over, the main hurdle is next. It is a hurdle they believe they can confidently scale by focusing on issues rather than hate speeches. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Away from electoral issues to other matters, the federal government of Nigeria has approved the recognition and observance of September 16th of every year as National Identity Day. In a statement signed by the General Manager Operations Corporate Communications, Abdul Hamid Umar, National Identity Management Commission says this is a practical move to create awareness on the importance of identification as a modern tool for national development and social cohesion. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, conveyed the government's approval in a letter dated August 29, 2019 and addressed to the Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Aliu Aziz. The ID Day campaign was initiated at the 4th annual meeting of the ID for Africa movement on 24th April 2018 in Abuja, Nigeria, as a global coalition calling for the recognition by the United Nations of September 16th or 16.9 as International Identity Day, given that identity plays an increasingly important role worldwide as developed as well as developing economies. The Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, says government is impressed with the successes recorded in the implementation of key components of the Open Government Partnership First National Action Plan for the country. The minister spoke at the validation retreat for the Second National Action Plan in Abuja. Kelvin Emwa Honoye has details.
Nigeria joined the Open Government Partnership in 2016. Becoming the 70th member nation. The first Open Government National Action Plan for the country was adopted in 2017, covering key areas like budgetary process, open contracting process, access to information, among others. The achievements recorded, particularly in anti-corruption, is what the Attorney General of the Federation, who is also the co-chairman of the Open Government Partnership in Nigeria, is happy about.
First National Action Plan was indeed a great success, and that indeed translated to the acknowledgement of the international community against the background of the fact that our procurement process, the Bureau of Public Procurement, was indeed acknowledged by way of investiture of honor internationally.
Flowing from these successes, the scope of the Second National Action Plan has been expanded to include service delivery, the extractive industry, and gender issues.
Again, we're looking at issues of education and health, but as time goes on, we have commitments around there also, which are coming in under the Second National Action Plan.
The roadmap on how government can deliver on these key thematic areas for national growth is what the Steering Committee of the Open Government Partnership seeks to validate and adopt in this retreat. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Now, more than 4,000 migrants have had their biometrics captured at the migrants' e-registration centers across the country. Comptroller General of Immigration Mohammed Baban Dede gave the indication at a media briefing in Abuja while insisting that the exercise does not confer citizenship. Victor Azu reports.
I hereby commission the Migrant e-registration center.
In one of the several efforts to check Nigeria's security challenges, the federal government on July the 12th flagged off the migrants' e-registration exercise while granting a 6-month-long amnesty to irregular migrants who have stayed beyond 90 days in the country. 42-year-old Kwesi Mark Kojo is a chef from Benin Republic. He has been living and working in Nigeria for the last 10 years. Like him, Suleiman Umar Sise is a trader from Niger Republic who has been living in Nigeria for 8 years. These two, along with others, acknowledge the opportunity the federal government has given them on a platter and are grateful for it.
We entered this country illegal, so as Nigeria government brings the document, we need to do it so that to help us for the country.
Anyone the Nigeria person is supposed to come to do register. To do your work, nobody will challenge you or talk to you bad thing.
This situation is a win-win, I'm told, as the biometrics are now available for law enforcement agencies to track their activities and better manage national security.
If the system does not allow you to stay irregularly, to take up Nigerian jobs, it doesn't allow you. It doesn't allow you to be forgiven for crime you have committed. It doesn't allow you to stay under any false pretense. We'll give you guidelines to stay according to Nigerian law.
The migrants' e-registration exercise continues in the 40 centers across the country for the likes of Suleiman and Kwesi until January 11, 2020, after which they must face the Nigerian laws. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
And following the activities of Boko Haram insurgents in the northeastern parts of the country, which has forced a lot of people to flee their homes and seek refuge in neighboring countries, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, paid a visit to Niger Republic to synergize and share ideas on ways of tackling humanitarian crisis in Nigeria and within the sub-region. Ruth Agwele tells us more.
Hassan and Husseini are the names used in describing Nigeria and the Niger Republic. This is not unconnected to the similarities both countries share. But not all are on a pleasant note, as both countries are dealing with serious issues of humanitarian crisis. This visit to Niamey in the Niger Republic by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, is very timely, as this is to spur ways to identify areas of collaborating with the Ministry of Humanitarian Action and Disaster Management in the Niger Republic, as the federal government is putting in place adequate measures for the return of Nigerian refugees back home.
We feel that we have a similar ministry in Nigeria, and since Niger has been operating this kind of ministry, we felt we should come because of our peculiarities, our common cultures, that we should come and look at the model and see what we can go home with.
A strategic roadmap on priority areas and identification of coordination of mechanisms that are already being implemented in the ministry was presented to the minister.
Et c'est dans ce cadre-là que Madame la ministre de l'Action humanitaire,
acknowledging the minister's visit, the Minister of Humanitarian Action and Disaster Management, Lawan Magagi, says the coming together of both ministries will help share ideas and experiences and pave way for a better future between both countries. The minister also paid a courtesy visit to the Prime Minister of Niger Republic, Brigi Rafini, where a meeting was held behind closed doors.
You know, the purpose of the meeting is really to come and bring greetings and good wishes from our President Muhammad Buhari, to the government and people of Niger for their support and their assistance they've been giving to our refugees that are here in Niger for the past couple of years.
The synergy extended to other ministries that will play a critical role in solving the menace, like the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Interior. It is the belief here that these ties will help create a strong framework for a rapid response to ending migrant challenges. From Niamey, Niger Republic, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
And now talking security. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, has tasked commands in the Nigerian Air Force to intensify military exercise along Kaduna, Abuja, Kaduna, Binongwari roads to augment the effort other security agencies is dealing with armed banditry and kidnapping. The Chief of Air Staff gave the charge during the graduation of second batch of 20 military dogs and handlers in Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukun reports.
They came in different breeds and species. 10 out of 20 military dogs and their handlers were trained on explosives detection, while the other 10 were drilled on narcotics and tracking of adversaries during operations. The complex nature of security challenges, Chief of the Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar says informed the decision by the Nigerian Air Force to enhance the capacity of personnel in various commands.
These dogs are in various airports, in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Abuja, and so on. And the idea is to make sure that we add value to what is currently on ground in order to secure the airports and make sure that people can go around without any problem.
while acknowledging the efficiency of the military dogs and their handlers in protecting not only their assets and crimes detection. Chief of the Air Staff calls for intense military exercise such as the Air Provost specialty along Kaduna Abuja and Kaduna Birnungwari Road to deal with banditry and kidnapping. The Nigerian Air Force K-9 personnel were trained for 3 months. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullah Hirgachkum, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News and we are live in Abuja. Let's take a pause here in Abuja as we join Jennifer in our Lagos studio. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jumai, and welcome to Lagos. Africa's most preferred smartphone brand, Tecno, has launched a new device under its camera-centric flagship in Lagos. Brand manager, Tecno Nigeria, Luke Pan, says the device is a testament of the brand's development of smartphone photography with a number of enhanced features. Awal Yusuf Jibo tells us more.
2, 1. That is the launch of Tecno Camon 12. The device is the 7th generation of the Camon series, coming a few months after the Tecno brand revealed its new philosophy for users to expect more in terms of creativity and quality.
We always make sure our consumers have the latest in innovation and smartphone technology. So because they want to be trendy and they want to be current, so they will choose us. Secondly, we have invested in some corporate social responsibility, offering scholarship to primary school students and helping fund young professionals or young students in Nigeria who have dreams.
Manufacturers attest that the Camon 12 comes with several physical and inbuilt upgrades from the Camon 11, ranging from its look and feel to its camera and security upgrades, adding that the brand has it all covered.
Camon 12 is equipped with triple AI camera, and also the megapixel is 32 megapixel, which allow our customer to take pictures in extreme close-up and also wide angle.
The new device comes in 3 size variants: the Camon 12, the Camon 12 Pro, and the Camon 12 Air.
Tecno is our partner for Africa. We work together to migrate the people, especially those who cannot afford.
Tecno is a premium mobile phone brand established in 2006 with its presence in more than 50 countries across the globe and is among the top 3 mobile phone brands in Africa. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
A suspect arrested by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for an illegal ingestion of illicit drug substance has excreted 79 wraps of methamphetamine after thorough medical examination. Commander NDLEA Muritala Mohammed International Airport Command Amadou Garba, at an exclusive interview, said the last wrap was extracted through an operation. Abolade Salami tells us more.
4-year-old Kwasi Paul, also known as Eze Ikechukwu, on the 10th of June 2019, arrived the Muritala Mohammed International Airport to join an Ethiopia airline flight to Jakarta, Indonesia, but was apprehended at the clearance point for an illegal ingestion of drug substance in his stomach. The suspect, after cross-examination and medical checks, excreted 79 wraps of the substance.
If not that commander insisted and it into his.
While giving further insight that led to the upgrade of airport facilities assisted.
So he excreted 70. When he said 79, that means by implication there is one that is the team, so they should do a surgical operation. The procedure was done and he was that one wrap of methamphetamine.
From January, 60.2 kilograms with 64 total number of suspects.